Week 4 has come and gone, and we are now on to week 5, and you have to make some really important decisions within your fantasy lineup. So here's what we're going to do in this video. I'm going to share with you some players you have to add off your waivers, and I'm going to also reveal which players you should get rid of to make room for those players. Before we go over the players that you should be adding, this is the Ivan Herrera Show, and I look to provide content for you to help you dominate your fantasy football leagues. So let's get into the video. You guys know I was big on this player in the offseason, but it's time for you to cut Zamir White. Zamir White, in 4 games this season, he has had double-digit touches. Only bad thing is it hasn't really resulted into anything that's helped your fantasy roster. And even though, of course, I like the touches, I just don't like where this offense is going with Las Vegas. And you're even hearing murmurs of Davante Adams having issues potentially getting traded. So I want no parts of Zamir White. He's already had 4 weeks to show me otherwise that he is worth it. He unfortunately has not, so I'm looking to move on and looking for better options, thus making Zamir White for me a must remove from your fantasy roster. Another one, and this is only in the context of redraft. If we're talking dynasty, I'll still urge you to be patient with this one. But if you're in a redraft league, I would definitely consider dropping Anthony Richardson. He had the amazing week 1, and that got me really excited because you got to see some of the passing explosiveness that you saw with the big plays. You also got to see the running, but now you've had 3 straight games that he's only provided single-digit performances, albeit this last one he had to leave the game early, but that kind of gets into the mix of his play right now, that even last year we saw the injury concerns, but now we're seeing the injury concerns combined with a lack of productivity. There are so much better options at quarterback right now. You can even potentially get Jared Goff on your roster, maybe even a different quarterback like Baker Mayfield that could provide you better upside weeks, being that the weapons there are much better in Tampa Bay. So with all that said, it's time for you to drop Anthony Richardson only in redraft leagues. If you're in Dynasty, of course, to hold on to him. Third player I have on my must-cut list is gonna be Christian Watson. Christian Watson came into the league with a whole bunch of question marks, considering that they had, said that he had resolved the issues that he had with his hamstrings. Unfortunately, despite all that, he still hasn't put up any numbers to make you feel confident with him being one of your wide receivers, even within the flex position. And I mean, of course, even the snap share hasn't been anything worthwhile for you to have on your roster. With all that said, there are better options there in Green Bay, and I would also urge you to look in your waiver wire because there may be better options also for you as opposed to Christian Watson. Okay, now this is the part of the video I need you to pay attention to. These are some players that you can add right now on your fantasy rosters that are available in majority of your fantasy leagues. The first one is going to be one of my favorite targets, and that's going to be Wan'Dale Robinson from the New York Giants. With the emergence of Malik Neighbors there in New York, it's been so exciting to see this young man thrive, but we've also gotten the opportunity to watch a second wide receiver emerge, and that's Wan'Dale Robinson. Check this stat out. He's available right now in 20% of ESPN leagues, and he's clearly emerged as a second wide receiver there to target in New York. And look at this, he's had 2 straight double-digit games, and he's had 3 of his last 4 games have 8+ targets. So this is someone that is already getting a safe floor because of the workload, and someone that you need to be adding to your flex spot, considering that we are now getting into our first round of bye weeks. This next one is a bit of a shock, someone that I didn't see coming, but it's going to be Tre Tucker. Now, if you don't know who this player is, he's actually on the Las Vegas Raiders. He is the wide receiver that has been featured a lot right now, especially after this past game where the Raiders did not have their star wide receiver Davante Adams. He's currently available in 10% of ESPN leagues. He's also coming off 2 games, one where he had 9 targets and this past one where he had 6 targets, and he's averaged 18 fantasy points in those outings. And what makes him even more intriguing is that right now, among all wide receivers, he actually is 4th in target separation. So this is someone that not only has been productive, but is showcasing that with his effectiveness to get separation from his defenders, and someone that you need to definitely consider on your fantasy roster. With the unfortunate placement of Isaiah Pacheco on the IR a few weeks back, we saw Carson Steele take the helm at running back, but this past week, after not getting much playing work because of a fumble, we saw Kareem Hunt take the helm there and really show out. Kareem Hunt is available right now in 21.7% of ESPN leagues. He had 14 carries on an average of 4.9 yards per carry. He also is someone that I believe will benefit from the fact that Rashee Rice is out. There is no answer as to what Kansas City is going to do to resolve the issue that they have, being that Rashee Rice has been ruled out for the season with the ACL injury. But if there is anything temporary that could benefit from this, it is going to be Kareem Hunt, being that he is an efficient pass catcher out of the backfield and someone that could see an uptick in volume because of that unfortunate unfortunate injury with Rashee Rice. Now, these next three are going to be options that you can consider, especially if you are in deep leagues. And the first one is going to be Ray McCloud. He's actually only rostered in 3.5% of ESPN leagues. In 6-week 2, he's actually had outings where he's had 100%, 95, and 98% of the snap share within that Atlanta Falcons wide receiver room, and someone that is also getting targets. In 3 of his last 4 games, he's also had 5+ targets within those outings, and someone that could have a steady floor for you at a flex position. Now, with the unfortunate news that Rashee Rice was going to be out because of the ACL injury, of course, there's still so many question marks as to what Kansas City will do to replace that talent there. But if they don't do anything in the meantime, I would consider Juju Smith-Schuster. Hear me out. I know he's only rostered in 0.7%, so 0.7% of ESPN rosters. This could be a dart throw for the meantime because, look, they're going to have a favorable matchup in week 5. They're playing the New Orleans Saints, and the New Orleans Saints actually are among the top 10 in worst defenses that allow the most catches to opposing wide receivers. And being that Juju operates out of the slot, this is someone that can at least benefit for now in the meantime with the Rashee Rice injury. I don't think that he's someone that is going to take that complete workload, but someone to at least consider, especially if you're struggling with injuries on your fantasy roster. Now, this last player is someone that is more so to fill a depleted position, which is the tight end position, and we also have bye week, so maybe you have Sam Laporta and you don't have many other options behind him to utilize this week. I would consider Coby Parinkson from the Los Angeles Rams. Now, he's only rostered in 34.1% of ESPN leagues, which means he could still be available for you out there, so make sure to check. What makes Parinkson intriguing for me, in his last 4 games, he's had 3 where he's had 5+ targets or more, and being that the tight end position is already pretty shallow, this is at least someone that you can utilize, being that right now there's so many question marks at tight end already, even with the elite options that we have right now in fantasy. Hey, thank you so much for making it to the very end of this video. If you found value in it, you made it this far, do me a solid, hit that subscribe button, also hit that like button as well, and be sure to check out some of these other videos on the channel so that way they can help you dominate your fantasy football leagues. We'll see you in the next one. God bless. Peace.